The Brian Crabtree Show on Demand is brought to you by the Cobb Chamber of Commerce. Achieve more. CobbChamber.org. The Brian Crabtree Show, live in Atlanta, afternoon starting at 4 on Biz 1190, Biz1190.com, and the Biz 1190 mobile app.
The Brian Crabtree Show.
The Brian Crabtree Show.
You know what I like about you? The way you say whatever you think.
We're going to have very, very serious trouble very quickly.
No, that's not true.
Brian Crabtree for your radio talk.
All right, at Brian Crabtree on Twitter, talk40.com online, the highlights, the analysis 24/7. We got the audio. We've got a lot of national syndicated writers, local writers, giving you enlightenment. We're not trying to tell you how to think. We're just helping you think through all of the fake stream media being spewed at you constantly. The solar eclipse, it's Monday. Schools are getting out late. People are taking off from work. Many thousands from around the South are traveling to the Blue Ridge Mountains, the upstate of South Carolina, parts of Tennessee, northeast Georgia, to catch 100% eclipse, something we haven't seen in over 100 years, may not see for centuries from now, meaning we'll never see this again. It's a 4,000-mile path, about 70 miles wide from Oregon to South Carolina, and it's in mostly rural areas of the country. There's safety concerns. Will there be the ability for local authorities to handle the influx of people? Will there be security concerns on top of that due to the large gathering in somewhat rural areas of the country? Only about 10 million people live in this 70-mile wide, 4,000-mile-long path. And to help us unpack this, we have a resident expert, if you will, who studies all things weather and astronomy and has some fascinations. And I thought I'd bring in Aaron Williams, our chief meteorologist, to try to discuss what exactly all of these risks are, looking into the sun, looking into the eclipse, and ultimately where you're going to get the best view. Aaron, great to have you with us.
Absolutely. Great to be here.
So I didn't know if I needed an astrologist, an astronomer, a meteorologist, or an ophthalmologist, or what here to unpack this solar eclipse and the glasses and the damage it could cause your eyes. So I figured I'd start with you, since you're the expert on things similar to this, I guess, inside our building.
Yeah. I can't tell you your future. You're going to have to get one of those card readers for that. But I think I can help you with the eclipse.
All right. Good. That's a good start for us. So first of all, help me understand the risks of looking up into the sun or into a solar eclipse. I thought the sun was being blocked by the moon, and that's what made it fascinating. How does that pan out?
Well, it will be blocked by the moon a little bit further to our north. In fact, here in the metro Atlanta area, we're not going to experience totality, which is 100% of the moon covering the sun. We'll be close. It'll be about 95, 98%, depending on where you are in the metro area. But anytime you look at the sun directly, it's like looking, if you ever looked at a welder or a welding arc, it can create that burn in your retinas. And if you do it for too long, it can cause permanent damage.
So if you just take a quick glance up, that it's probably not going to be a problem. But if you look at it for 30 seconds, it could be real damaging. Is that a good rule of thumb?
That's probably a good rule of thumb. I just think would be a smart idea to have those glasses on, no matter how many seconds you look up into the sky.
And I'm hearing Amazon had to recall 1 million of them for some sort of problem they detected with them, and it's nearly impossible to find the glasses. What are you hearing or seeing on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like I just said. I looked on Amazon too. I can't find anything. I was lucky my wife was able to pick up some at her work, so I'm good to go. But you're almost looking at having to go finding some welding safety goggles. At maybe one of the industrial supply shops. But everyone's gone crazy over the eclipse, and those glasses have sold out quick.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm turning you into a scientist with this question, but what if you have polarized glasses like Costa glasses, the pretty dark ones with polarized lenses? Does that not, I'm sure it would help. Does it do enough? Do you know?
No, it doesn't. From everything I read, again, I'm not an ophthalmologist, I'm not an eye doctor, but everything I've read said that you need specialized goggles, and something that's polarized isn't going to give you enough protection.
So it's just that much glare. In terms of what we're going to experience in Atlanta, is it going to be dark? Is it going to be almost nighttime? I mean, what would it be like? Is it like sunset that we're going to experience in the middle of the day on Monday?
Basically, yeah. Starting at just after 1 o'clock, the eclipse is going to begin in our neck of the woods. It's going to last for about 3 hours before it finally passes through around 4 o'clock or so. Totality, which is the maximum, is going to be about 3 minutes, and that's going to be right around 2:30 to 2:35, 2:40. So that's going to be our time frame. But what you're going to see is basically, like you said, a sunset. It's going to get darker, and then it's going to be almost pitch black. You'll see the stars and all that kind of stuff for about 3 or 4 minutes. And then it'll start getting lighter again. It's going to be a very interesting phenomenon.
Yeah, so the last time, and by the way, we're with our meteorologist, Aaron Williams, here for Biz 1190 and AM 920, The Answer. Aaron, the last time we experienced something of this magnitude was about 100 years ago on Earth, meaning almost no one has seen this before. Have we been close to this? I heard in like 2024 we'll have a 75% version of it. I mean, we get these from time to time, right?
Yeah, I remember we had one back in the 80s. When I was a kid, I think we had one. And like you said, another one's going to come up a little bit. But actual 100% totality is a very rare thing, and I don't believe we're going to have another one for 300 years. So, people are making a pretty big deal of this for a good reason. We're never going to see this again in our lifetime.
I know you've been studying this. Is there a security risk? Are there some sort of safety concerns? A lot of the states have shipped in water that are in the 4,000-mile tunnel where the 100% eclipse happens, the Blue Ridge Mountains, upper South Carolina, those kinds of areas, almost to the mode of declaring a state of emergency for all of the people that are going to come in. Do we have fears about how that may pan out? I can't find much about it because everything seems to be about Trump's press conference, but
Sure.
but there seems to be underlying in government, without a lot of news coverage, concerns about security. What do you make of all that?
Well, I think that the biggest thing is that you've got a fairly rural area. We're talking like north, the Blue Ridge Mountains, up there towards like Clayton, Toccoa. That area is going to experience totality. And you're just going to get a lot of people coming into that space where they probably can't fit all those people. So I think more than anything else, they're just being prepared to make sure that they've got enough emergency services for all the rush of people that are going to be coming into that area.
I know this is your area of fascination. Are you traveling to that area or staying here in Atlanta and experience the 95% version?
I'm not 100% sure. Maybe the guys on the 8th floor will give me the day off. I'm not, if I can. I'm definitely thinking about running up there. I've got a couple of friends up there in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and I might just kind of hang with them and check it out because, like you said, it is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I know that my son's school is getting out an hour later so they can watch the eclipse, and for safety reasons too. And, it's interesting, and it's just something that's fascinating to me, and it's really captured the imagination of a lot of folks.
Yeah, it sure has. It's a big topic, big subject matter for people, at least. Aaron Williams, Chief Meteorologist, Biz 1190, AM 920, The Answer. Appreciate your time today.
Anytime.
I was reading in the AJC, and it was they had bullet points in here about the blindness factor. And I didn't want to get him deep into that because he's not an ophthalmologist. But number 4 in the AJC's article I tweeted out at Brian Crabtree, most patients with eclipse blindness are legally blind when they visit the eye doctor. The most unfortunate part about eclipse blindness is knowing what the ultimate prognosis is going to be. It could take 6 to 12 months before knowing whether or not they will remain legally blind or recover. About half of the patients diagnosed with eclipse blindness fully recover, regaining full vision in about 6 months' time, but the other half partially or never recover. There aren't any really effective treatment options, and doctors treat the impairment like just any other case of visual impairment. And then they went on to answer the question I know a lot of us are asking, so when is it safe to look at the sun with the naked eye during a solar eclipse? And then according to NASA, you should not look directly at the sun without protection except during the brief totality time. So when we get down to the brief totality time, hope I can see it maybe from within the condo building. If I can look out and see it there, I guess we're never going to have totality time here in Atlanta. It's going to be 95%, as you just heard there. So I would wonder if you had polarized glasses on, looked through something that's slightly tinted like high-rise condo windows and weren't standing outside, if you had the privilege of seeing it from that perspective, surely for a flash of a couple of seconds, all right, been there, done that, got the T-shirt, I saw it, move on. I can't imagine it would create blindness. But this is kind of what happens in the media, is there's really no information. We're just told, don't ever look up because you'll go blind. And when you get to the doctor, you'll be legally blind and handicapped. Be afraid of the solar eclipse. I mean, maybe it's that risky. I'm not trying to belittle what the scientists are telling us. Rabun County, Georgia, as an example, which is up in the zone. That's up in the northeast section near the mountains, the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, if I'm not mistaken. The 21st of August solar eclipse will begin at 2:35. It'll last for 2 minutes, 40 seconds there. And that's the brief totality of time in which you're safe to look at the sun without any official protection. Well, you're safe to look at the sun because you can see the moon, but you can't see the sun because it's totally blocked by the moon. So you're not actually looking at the sun at that moment. I don't know what fool really ever does look up without glasses on and looks at the sun. I'm wondering, does it amplify the sun, the fact that the moon is there and it's an eclipse? Because, I mean, I know at times in your life, whether you want to or not, you end up looking into the sun or looking up at the sun for a flash of a moment, and it's so bright you look away. So maybe the danger here, if I'm reading this correctly, is that you look up at the sun, you're not getting the full exposure because it's mostly blocked by the moon, but it's enough of those rays still coming that you don't sense the blinding nature of it, but it's still doing the same amount of damage. I guess that's the risk. It's like putting your hand on a fire and not having any nerves to feel the pain of your hand burning. I guess might be the best analogy. I'm guessing at this. There's a Google simulator that you can use to determine the narrow path of totality. Just Google simulator or Eclipse Google simulator, and you'll get that from the Google search results, where you can check out where and what and what's your location, all that kind of stuff, and figure out, what's the best time to try to make a viewing if you're going to be lazy like me and stay in Atlanta and experience 95% of this thing. This is the Brian Crabtree Show. Don't go away.
The Brian Crabtree Show on demand is brought to you by the Cobb Chamber of Commerce. Achieve more. CobbChamber.org. The Brian Crabtree Show, live in Atlanta, afternoon starting at 4 on Biz 1190, Biz1190.com, and the Biz 1190 mobile app.